Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome or welcome back to Chef Vic Cuisine. Today we're making star bread. Now this has got to be one of the best holiday bread options you can make right at home. This star bread is super eye-catching and absolutely delicious. So let's get started. Alright, so to get us started, in the bowl of a stand mixer, we want to add in 2 1/4 teaspoons or 1 standard packet of Red Star Platinum Yeast, followed by 3 tablespoons worth of granulated white sugar, as well as 3/4 cups of 2% milk that's been heated to about 100 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 to 43 degrees Celsius. Give this a quick mix and allow it to rest and slightly foam up, which should take about 10 minutes. And here I'll do a time lapse to show you what to expect to see when it foams. So after that first 10 minutes, you want to add in 1/4 cup of unsalted butter, softened to room temperature, 1 teaspoon of salt, followed by 1 large egg, as well as 1 1/6 cup of all-purpose flour. I know it's a weird measurement, but trust me, it works. Use a paddle attachment for this next part, and you want to mix it on low speed for about 15 seconds. At this stage, you want to take a rubber spatula and scrape down the sides and the bottom of the bowl to make sure that all the ingredients get well mixed initially. And then you want to add in another 1 1/6 cup of all-purpose flour, creating a total of 2 1/3 cup that you can split in the beginning of this recipe. Now you want to mix this for about 2 minutes or until a dough forms. It should be easy to manage by hand, and you want to knead the dough into a round ball. And then you want to spray your bowl or another large container with a non-stick butter spray. Place the dough into the bowl and cover this with plastic wrap and allow this to rise for 90 minutes to 2 hours, or until it's doubled in size. And here's another time lapse to show you what to expect when your dough rises. This is a key step, so make sure you allow enough time for your dough to rise. Just wanted to drop in real quick to say I hope you're enjoying the video thus far, and if you are, make sure you smash that like button for me. It really helped boost this channel's performance. And make sure you stay until the end of this video for a sneak peek of the recipe coming next week. You don't want to miss this one. Once your dough is risen, you want to remove the plastic wrap and punch the dough down to release any trapped air. And then you want to place the dough onto a lightly floured working surface. Using a pastry cutter or a sharp knife, you want to divide the dough into 4 equal pieces. And now our job is to roll each of these pieces out into a 10-inch size disc. And so starting off with our first portion of the dough, I like using a lightly floured rolling pin to roll out the dough into a thin disc. And don't forget to flip the dough as you roll it to prevent the dough from sticking to your working surface. Now let's transfer this first disc of dough to a parchment paper lined baking sheet. What makes star bread really delicious is what filling you choose to add. For ours, we're going to use a cinnamon sugar filling, and for that, all you need is 1/4 cup of granulated white sugar mixed with 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, making sure that we whisk those well to create a nice cinnamon sugar. And now we're going to spread 1 tablespoon's worth of unsalted butter, softened to room temperature, over the top surface of this disc. Once the butter's been added, you want to add a 1/3 portion of your cinnamon sugar to this disc, sprinkling it evenly amongst the surface. Now you want to set that aside, and we're going to repeat this process for the remaining 3 rolls of dough. Starting off by rolling it into a round 10-inch disc, we're going to transfer that on top of our first prepared dough disc, adding another tablespoon of unsalted butter evenly amongst the top surface, followed by another 1/3 portion of the cinnamon sugar, sprinkling that evenly amongst the top. And we're going to do the exact same thing with our 3rd section of dough as well. But for the 4th, all you want to do is roll it out into another 10-inch wide disc, Place this final disc on top of the rest of the prepared dough. And it's at this stage where I like using a 10-inch wide cake disc. Or maybe you can use a large plate instead as a template to ensure that all your layers are evenly wide. So place it on top and use a sharp paring knife or pastry cutter to cut along the edge of your template to ensure you cut off all that excess dough so that all 4 layers are even. Now, using a cookie cutter or a ramekin, you want to create a 3-inch size indent into the center of the dough. Make sure that this indent doesn't go all the way through. And then you want to use a dough cutter to create 16 strips leading to the center. So I like starting off with a cross pattern at first, and then you want to divide each of those 4 sections in half, and then divide those in half as well, resulting in 16 even slices of the dough. Now, to create our star pattern, you want to take 2 adjacent strips and twist them away from each other twice. And then you want to bring those 2 twisted strips back together at the top to make a point. And you're going to repeat this to create an 8-pointed star. And it's really important that you crimp those points together, otherwise they'll unfurl during the baking process. So make sure you pinch those tightly at the tips. But yeah, that simple rolling pattern is all it takes to create an intricate design for your star bread. And so once it's formed, you want to cover the bread with plastic wrap and allow it to rest for 20 minutes. And during the 20 minutes, you can also notice that it rises slightly. It'll be at this stage where you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 176 degrees Celsius. We're also going to create an egg wash for the star bread, and for that, all you need is 1 large egg and 1 tablespoon of 2% milk. Mixing those together until the egg wash forms. Brush this egg wash evenly over all the top of the bread, making sure to also get into the folds of the star bread as well. We're now going to transfer this to the oven and allow this to bake for 25 to 30 minutes, or until it becomes golden brown. And if you notice your bread browning too quickly, you can always cover it with aluminum foil. But once it reaches that golden brown finish, you want to remove it from the oven and allow it to cool for 5 minutes. And final touches to the star bread is to dust it with some powdered sugar. I like to do it along the edges to create a nice stunning effect. You want to serve this warm and enjoy. And just like that, you've made star bread right at home. In my opinion, this is one of the most eye-catching bread options I've ever had. And what makes it even better is that it tastes amazing, and there's so many different varieties of options that you can use for this. For example, you can try using Nutella or jam, or even some savory options for the filling next time. But when you do try this recipe, be sure to tag me at Chef Vic Cuisine or hashtag Chef Vic Cuisine so I can see your take on this recipe. So now let's break into a piece of the star bread and see how we did. As you can see, the bread is not only light and fluffy, but that buttery cinnamon sugar flavor is layered throughout beautifully. Each bite melts in your mouth and you can never have just one piece. As always, this recipe and many more can be found in my cookbook, Chef Vic Cuisine Volume 3, Upgrading Your Inner Chef. And that's available on Amazon, and I'll be sure to leave a link to that in my description box. And feel free to click the pop-up on the screen for more information on that as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. And if you did, make sure to smash that like button for me. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Victor, and welcome to Chef Vic Cuisine. I like to share delicious recipes each and every week that you can make for yourself, your family, and your friends. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to hit that subscribe button too. And sharing is caring, so if you enjoyed this recipe and think someone else will too, feel free to share this with all your family and friends. And stay tuned for next week where I show you how to make one of my favorite desserts, key lime pie. If you're a fan of this, I guarantee you'll love my recipe. Well, thank you all again so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You're the best. Your support really means a lot to me. Check out more recipes on my page now. YouTube thinks you'll like this video, so let's see if they're right. And I'll see you next time on another episode of Chef Vic Cuisine. And until then, peace.